Welcome to The Explainer. Usually, we spend our time digging deep into the hard, measurable science of the world around us. But today we're making a fascinating pivot. We are stepping away from the strict confines of chemistry and physics and jumping right into the vibrant, colorful world of human culture. We're going to unpack the surprisingly complex history of birthstones and zodiac gemstones.
There's a saying that perfectly captures the whole vibe of what we're doing today. Understanding birthstones means understanding people, not minerals. I absolutely love that. Seriously, when we discuss gemstones, we're usually deep in the weeds of trace elements and light refraction. But today is entirely about us. It's the story of how human beings have assigned meaning and magic to beautiful rocks throughout history.
Now, before we really get going, let's dive into this and clearly establish the difference between what we know through science and what we practice through tradition. On one hand, we've got measurable science. Those are the established facts, things like crystal systems, refractive index, trace element chemistry. But on the other hand, we have cultural tradition. That's your birthstones, your zodiac associations, and healing beliefs. These are not measurable science. They are rich, historical human traditions, and that is exactly what we're going to explore right now.
Section 1. The origins of modern birthstones.
Okay, so the history of month-to-gem associations is this long, sprawling timeline. Way back in ancient times, the roots of this tradition actually began with religious texts. Think of the biblical breastplate of Aaron, which featured 12 distinct gemstones to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, over the centuries, this evolved into various regional and folk traditions, where different cultures just assigned gems based on their own unique beliefs. It was a highly inconsistent history, honestly, kind of all over the place. That is, until the early 20th century, when everything was finally consolidated into the standardized list we use today.
And this is the real aha moment. It reveals just how shockingly recent our supposedly ancient birthstone calendar actually is. The modern Western list, literally the exact one you check when you're buying a birthday gift for someone, wasn't handed down perfectly intact from antiquity. No way. It was actually standardized in 1912 by the National Association of Jewelers, mostly just to clear up commercial confusion. So our definitive historical list, it's barely over a century old.
All right, moving on to Section 2, Historical and Zodiac Variations.
When you compare older traditions against the modern list, the contrast is just striking. Historically, consistency was practically non-existent. It's like a giant puzzle where the pieces kept changing shapes. One ancient culture might consider a specific red stone to be the absolute ultimate symbol for a certain time of year, right? While a neighboring region might favor a blue stone for that exact same time frame. It wasn't until the modern era that these wildly varied folk beliefs were brought into a single unified framework.
And when we bring astrology into the mix, we see a similarly chaotic pattern. Over the millennia, totally different cultures have linked specific gems to zodiac signs, but these associations shifted constantly. The gem meant to represent a Leo or a Taurus in one century could be completely different from the gem assigned by a different culture just a few generations later. It spread and changed like wildfire across different geographies.
Section 3. Metaphysical Claims and Meaning.
We gotta address the elephant in the room here, and we want to be very direct while remaining entirely respectful. Claims that a particular gemstone provides physical healing properties, emotional benefits, or, guaranteed financial returns, those are simply not supported by scientific evidence. As an explainer of the facts, we treat those claims strictly as cultural or commercial traditions. They are a deeply rich part of marketing and folklore, for sure, but they are clearly separate from the measurable physical facts of gemology.
But the crucial point is this. Just because it isn't hard science doesn't mean it isn't valuable. Understanding these traditions is genuinely important. It gives us this beautiful, personalized context for jewelry design and gift-giving. And more importantly, it deeply enhances our cultural literacy. It shows us how our ancestors viewed the world around them. By separating the belief from the chemical fact, we can actually appreciate these stones as representations of a deeply meaningful human tradition. Which brings us to our core takeaway. These beliefs are meaningful tradition, not scientific fact. And the best part? We don't have to choose between science and culture. We can respectfully appreciate both. We can measure the refractive index of a gem in a lab while simultaneously marveling at the centuries of folklore that make that exact same stone a vital part of human connection. So what does this all mean for you? Well, it leaves us with a fun, personalized mystery to solve. Based on this constantly shifting history, I want to leave you with a question. What was your birthstone 500 years ago? I challenge you to do a little digging.
Look into how the gem associated with your birth month changed across different historical eras or cultures. You might be completely shocked by what you find. Thank you so much for exploring the rich history behind these traditions with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.